Okay. So my name is Kevin Stadmeyer.
And I'm Garrett Held.
We work for TrustWave. We do application security consulting. We're both senior application security consultants with them. We are. Yeah. How about we shut up for a little bit? Cool. Sweet. All right. So we're going to talk about a talk called "Worst of the Best of the Best." This is a talk about security awards and whether or not they are good things or bad things. And we'll kind of let you draw your own conclusions, I guess, at the end. So that's about it.
So what we're going to be covering is we're going to go over our motives, what led us to this talk. We're going to go over our goals, what we hope to get out of this talk, and go over some of the awards.
Yeah. We're going to have some examples of serious flaws in the system, so things that are wrong with how security awards are awarded now and how they could possibly be better. We'll talk about lies, damn lies, and awards. It's a kind of take on Mark Twain quote. What awards really mean, and then better ways to do the system so that we can maybe get something useful out of them.
So motives and goals, what really led us to this paper, well, I guess I should say, it's obvious that these security awards are about marketing. And we can't base it on a product that has zero vulnerabilities or no vulnerabilities, because all products are going to contain them, and we accept that, and we know that through our years of experience testing these things. However, what concerned us was the dangerous security, awarding the dangerous security practices is much, much worse. And the public records related to these products really give an incomplete picture as well, so it's hard to evaluate if the award is telling the truth.
Yeah, so we're going to highlight a product that's an example of this problem. We're going to talk a little bit more about the product in depth when we get to that section, but we're going to talk about the issues we found in this one particular product we reviewed that kind of led to the talk, and why vulnerability statistics do not accurately reflect product security. We're going to attempt to use publicly available information to kind of analyze the awards, how they're being awarded, and what that means for the winners and the losers of each award competition. All right, so here's our awards overview. We basically focused on 4 of the largest security awards we could find. We didn't include the ponies in this one, so we went with the more established ones, no offense to Dino. But we have the Information Security Products Guide, SC Magazine, techworld.com, and the Information Security Magazine.
And we tried to figure out what the nomination process was and how they chose a winner. And as you can see from this, it's usually a very gray process or unreliable at best. That's not to say they don't pick secure products once in a while, but there's just no way to confirm it really with the information that we have about these awards.
Yeah, I mean, our initial research, kind of the thing that was most surprising to us was that, it's almost impossible to find out how some of these awards are chosen, even how they're nominated. It's kind of like, here's a website and here are some security awards. You should go ahead and buy these products because they're the most secure out there, but we're not going to tell you how we figured out it's most secure. We're not going to tell you how they're nominated. We're not going to tell you who the competitors are, and we're not going to tell you anything about the process whatsoever. Okay, so product X and vendor Y, these are 2 separate cases. Product X is a product that we were evaluating as a company. We were looking to buy this product just for use on our network. For legal reasons, we're not really allowed to talk too much about what the name of the product is, so it's kind of lame. Sorry guys, I know O-Day is unfortunately released here, but it's basically an application/install appliance that provides a web service interface on a network appliance. It's very basic, it's very straightforward, and it won a ton of awards. So if you go to its marketing page, which you never will, you could see that they have a whole bunch of awards on there, and they win basically every award under the sun, and judging from the marketing page, the most secure product in the entire world, and they could do no wrong.
So for this one, we did a manual application security review. We didn't have access to the source code. This is the same thing you'd see if you actually got the product and you just started toying around with it. We did not have any special knowledge whatsoever.
Yeah, this is totally a black box assessment. We basically just picked up a product off the shelf and we said we want to try and buy a couple of these things. Let's look at one and see how they do. And then as a result of that, we ended up finding a bunch of issues, 8 high-risk issues, 6 medium-risk issues, and 9 low-risk issues. And because we're nice guys, we decided to tell the vendor about this. We said, hey, we're interested in your product, we like it, but you guys have some problems you should work out. And we think, here's a nice report, it's totally free, check it out. We just saved you like 15 grand in testing costs.
So here's a subset of some of the issues we found. The first one and most prominent was the systemic cross-site scripting. And this was just all over. It was reflective, DOM-based, persistent, you name it, it was there. And this wasn't, we didn't have to do any filter evasion for this like we sometimes do.
Yeah, I mean, straight up, if you go to like the Wikipedia and look for cross-site scripting and just put each one of the examples into each one of the fields, you're going to get a cross-site scripting back. It's pretty easy. There's literally no evasion, no filtering, nothing. They didn't care about anything, really.
The next one was privilege escalation, and this is pretty much the browser supplied the user ID. So as long as you had a valid session, you could change your authentication or authorization levels.
Yeah, I mean, this is along the lines of is admin equals yes or is admin equals no. So
that's a practical example, but not for this product.
Yeah, that's another example we found in another product, but that's not this case. But it's something very similar. I think it was actually level based, so it's level 1 through 10 or something. And then if you're able to just change it from a 1 to a 2 or 2 to a 10, you can change your privileges around as any user on the system and then do whatever you wanted with it.
So we're also running what appeared to be a custom web server, pretty much reinventing the wheel here and introducing a whole host of new bugs, including arbitrary system file access and the password file.
Yeah, including the password file. I mean, if you go to, I think when we did this report, we gave them a listing of every single pre-made web server, and there's like 60 of them listed on Wikipedia right now of established web servers. And for whatever reason, they decided that they were going to make their own web server because it would be easier, cheaper, safer, none of those things. I don't know why they did it, but they decided to go for it.
We broke the password in about 3 minutes. It was a single word, and that was what they were most upset about, and that's something they actually did change. So
yeah, that's the main change that came out of this assessment is that they decided to change their root password. Yeah. They didn't change how we access the file. They didn't change anything else. Privilege escalation. They just went and made the password a little bit harder to crack. So it's probably take maybe an hour now to crack it. So it's a lot more secure. At least 25 times more secure. So here's an example from Web Scarab. If you guys are familiar with Web Scarab at all, this is a familiar picture. This is the Web Scarab session ID analysis. And so you can see that is not random. You just looking at that, you can tell that these are going to be predictable session IDs. It's poor implementation, and it resulted in users being able to steal sessions of users logging in and out just by guessing. So you get one session ID, you know that the next one is probably going to be incremented by 2 or 3 or whatever the time difference is, and you set up burp to brute force it, and then you get your session ID. It's very simple.
Even if we didn't have that, the way they distributed the session tokens, we were able to predict them if you're logging in around the same time as that person, as the other person.
Yep.
And this is their response, pretty much. Okay, it's not an exact quote, but this is what we got back from them. So
yeah, we actually you hear like it's a joke sometimes though. It's not a feature. It's not a bug. That's a feature. That is literally what the CTO told us. This is not a bug. This is a feature. Users should be able to do this. We had a conference call with these guys, and we had a WebEx, and while we were doing it, we were hacking into the application they were using to demo it because it had the IP address up, and we were popping up cross-site scripting boxes and everything else. It's like, oh no, it's cool. That's a feature. You want to alert users to problems in the application. So I mean, they didn't care at all. They gave no indication they even knew what a security issue was. They never, as far as I can tell, had read any Wikipedia page on security. They've never been to OWASP. They've never been to
OWASP what?
OWASP, yeah. OWASP what? Yeah, exactly. Nothing. They knew 0.00.
Yeah, we even explained the business risk and the best practices remediations. Still weren't interested.
So basically, as a result of doing this Product X is how this talking about, because we were like, we looked at it. First thing we did, we went to the website, checked it out, saw all these awards they won. Like, okay, this must be a pretty good product. We'll give it a once-over just to verify. And then we found these tons and tons of issues. And we're like, obviously nobody's ever looked at this product from a security standpoint in its entire life. And, obviously judging from their reaction, they're not interested in looking at it from a security standpoint. So, how the heck did they win all these security awards if they're not interested, even aware of what security is? So from then on, also, we also had another issue, vendor Y, a major software vendor, I don't know, probably Fortune 100, and they are, we found 2 different vulnerabilities in the course of pen testing, one medium, one higher. One of them still occurs in their own server. They refuse to fix them.
Yeah, it's actually still...
It's still live on the site, yeah. So we told them about it, and they just kind of ignored us, which is not surprising. So we're in the process of going through, and we're trying to fix it with them logically.
These do not require clever fixes either. These are pretty straightforward and simple to fix.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, again, this is a vendor that wins a lot of security awards, and it's shocking to us that people can be winning awards and are involved in this process, and their security is awful, just truly awful. All right, so lies, statistics, and awards. So what do awards really mean? Problems with gathering statistics, you have a lot of FUD. So a lot of companies have really active marketing machines. They're out there putting out press releases, basically trying to gum up the works in terms of hiding information, in terms of what is available, what CVEs are released. They don't necessarily mark patches as security patches. They'll say it's a patch. They won't say that it's an important patch or a critical patch. So it's very difficult for us to gather statistics about the specific vulnerability of each software product. Without actually going out and testing every single product, which isn't really feasible for something like this. So what we did is we basically relied on publicly available sources, which is in itself another problem, is that there's really only a couple sources available.
Right. I mean, I have some training in economics and discrete mathematics and statistics, and gathering these sources was really, really difficult because what few we could find, we couldn't trust. And we'll go over how small the numbers are here.
Yeah, I mean, we ended up basically relying on CVE and Secunia and then some other blogs of people that we know that we trust as good security researchers to find the vulnerabilities. But in the end, it's just so hard to find reliable information out there about security problems. So we did the best we could.
And then there was a lack of history. Some of these products winning the awards were only 6 months old, sometimes even less than that. And there's just not enough time there to evaluate the product even.
Yeah, I mean, that in itself is worrying that a product that's been around for only a month or two is able to win a security award. What is that based on? How could anybody possibly evaluate this product properly in order to say that it's, a secure product?
So for gathering the statistics, we picked 3 categories we found across 2 awards. We tried to pick some categories that would be that would have common vulnerabilities in them, that would be tested a lot, that would have a lot of peer review.
Yep, we picked 2 different awards. I think we did InfoSec and SC Magazine, just because those were the 2 that were kind of the most open with regards to how they nominate products and how they, how they pick them.
There were also different methodologies as far as how they picked products. One was a popularity contest, one was more chosen by a panel or.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the other thing is that so they have a lot of awards like the best security company, the best security new team, the best security blah blah blah, and so those things are very difficult to evaluate. And so we can't go up and say that company X is not the best new security team. We can only say they are the best new security team. That's just based on whatever they based on. So we went for products, hard products we can look at and say, okay, this is product X, this is product Y, this is product Z, this is 0 vulnerabilities, this is 1 vulnerability, this is 27 vulnerabilities. So we want to be able to have something we can base on actual experience. We don't want to just say, well, they're the best security company because we think that they're best. Or, I know that Brett Hardin works for them, so it's not a very good security company. Something like that.
We also assembled our competitors based on other past award winners. We based on if the awards actually showed who the competitors were, and then we just did searches for industry competitors using public search engines as well.
Yeah, we had a variety of sources. We decided basically that, because of the different, the way that products are always being updated, they're always getting a new version number. We would look at the last 3 years of that product. So if it was, product X version 2.6, then we would include vulnerabilities we found in product X version 1.5. And that's just so we can get the most comprehensive kind of look of how it's evolved over the years in terms of, how many security issues are in it. We did have a couple products that had no vulnerabilities in those 3 years, but in the previous 4 or 5 years, they had a bunch of vulnerabilities. So it's a little bit misleading in that case, but we tried to do the best we could. We did round down the severity, so we kind of threw them a bone. So if we can something be like a medium low, we'd make it a low. If there's a medium high, we'd make it a medium, and so on and so forth. Okay, so here's the first one, the awards for anti-malware. I don't know if you can probably read that, it's not too bad. So SC Magazine, InfoSec Product Guide, these are the 2 winners. One is Semantic Endpoint Protection, and one is Core Trace Bouncer 4.0. And this is not picking on these products. This is something that the marketing decides, and I have no problem with the products of the companies. I don't think that they should be singled out. It's just that it happened to be in the award category.
And it could very well be, as we demonstrated in the previous section, that Symantec was the one that actually reported these and fixed them, and the others just haven't reported them yet. So it can be these numbers can be misleading as well.
But even then, you can see that Symantec has 4 highs, no mediums, no lows, and that's double the next highest, right? So not 32 is 4 highs. Not 32 is 2 highs, 1 medium, and 2 lows. So it's more vulnerabilities overall, but arguably less severe. The thing to take away from this is that there are a couple products here that have 0.00 vulnerabilities in them, and they didn't win the award. And so it's kind of, it's interesting to us that you can have products that seem on the surface to be more secure who don't win the award, even from any of the any different websites or magazines.
It's also occasionally the case that some of the products were so new they didn't even show up in the manufacturer, and the product didn't show up in the vulnerability databases.
Yeah. So here's Endpoint Security. Again, you can see, so McAfee Security Center won the SC magazine with 2 highs and a low. InfoSec product guide looks to be doing the right thing here, and they gave Parity the award with 0 vulnerabilities, but again, who knows? And then you can see that just going down the line, obviously F5 probably should not have won the award with their 25 vulnerabilities in the last 3 years. Or maybe they should have won the award the last 25 vulnerabilities in the last 3 years. Maybe they fixed all of them right away in a day. And maybe they were actively reporting them, they're reporting the CVE, and that's the thing, is that you don't know. So the only way to really do it is you have to kind of look at them as I guess, a holistic viewpoint. And again, the last one we looked at was the Ipsec Ssl Vpn.
And so here you can see, again, SC Magazine is giving the Cisco one, which is about a medium on the scale, is 3 highs and 4 lows there. But again, the numbers are so mixed and so low, and there's so few data that it's hard to draw any public conclusions, and it's obvious that they're not basing their decisions on reported vulnerabilities or anything like that.
Yeah, I guess what you should take away from these slides is that it's basically just a popularity contest, and it's a popularity contest people who don't know anything about security. So, yeah,
or worse than a popularity contest.
Or worse than a popularity contest, yeah. All right, so what do awards really mean? They're marketing, right? They're marketing. People buy awards. In doing the research for this, the actual quote was, I asked them how they got the award, and they said they cut a check. So, that's how you win an award, right?
I believe there's some talking involved too. But
I believe there's a little bit of talking involved, but mostly they wrote an email and wrote a check, and that was it, right? So that's how you win a security award. It's unclear, what exactly are they winning? Are they winning a security award just because it's information security product guide? Is that really, are they more trusted than, Bob's computer guide? It's not clear. There's too many products, too many awards. It's too confusing in terms of,
some of these also list so many categories that the products almost have no competitors in them, so they automatically win by default.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have, and it's the best inline scanner not based off a snort platform built in the last 2 years by a guy in Romania, obviously there's not going to be too many products out there like that. And so what happens is they get these really specific categories and they say, okay, it's you and one other dude, and the other dude didn't write us a check, so no, you get an award. And then typically with these awards is also press releases you have to pay a licensing fee every time you use their name in your press release. And so you write them a check for the award, then you write them a check to use their name in the licensing, then you write them a check because they give you a link on their website, and you write them a check because you do this and do that. It's all about money. Shocking.
So pretty much it's pointless right now.
It's pointless, yeah. So the awards don't mean anything. That's the basis of our talk. So what are the better ways we can do this? We can have credible award requirements. We can have an open process. We can say, listen, you get nominated because you have 14 people send in your application, your product. You get nominated because we've noticed that you've done a lot of security research. We've researched all the competitors, and you seem to have the best security response.
You can also make established products. Nothing that's been out for a month should probably be winning any major security awards.
Yeah, that's the case, is that, products that are out for a month or 3 months are winning major security awards. And there's no reason for that. There's no basis for that. There's no way to tell that they're the best or the worst.
The product patch process is probably the most important. How they react to these patches. And we tried to assemble the data, and we were hoping to get enough that we could see if they had a history of correcting the problems, and then the bugs tapered off at the end, but there just wasn't enough data. But really what needs to happen is how they react to these vulnerabilities needs to be analyzed when they're choosing winners. Yeah,
that's far more important in our mind, is how they react to a patch, how they react to a bug submission. So vendor Y just ignored our 2 bugs. And it's not like we're nobody's from the security industry. We have the trust wave after our email address, so they know we're involved at least peripherally with the security industry, And we give them full stack traces, and we say, okay, you go here, it's in this file. It's a closed source file. I don't know exactly where it is, but I'm going to guess it's somewhere around this part of the file. You handle this input validation. And they're like, no. It's like, no, it's right here. It's a stack trace. No. And so that's basically the result. They say no, and they ignore you.
Relevant criteria. Well, if your award says security somewhere in it, it probably shouldn't be a popularity contest at all.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's okay to have a popularity contest. I mean, as long as it's a popularity contest amongst people who know what they're talking about when it comes to security, you know? And that's just not the case. It's people who subscribe to the magazine, subscribe to the website. It's like, hey, I like to pay money for this, so I'm obviously a security expert now. And they don't, from what we can tell anyway, they don't go out and they don't talk to any market leaders in security. We've asked around, talked to our friends, and I haven't heard of anybody I know in the security industry who has ever been approached to evaluate a product for a security award.
Right, these are reader popularity, not industry expert
Yep.
popularity.
So alternative evaluation criteria, you know, what can we do to make it better?
Pretty much just I mean, these products should have references. Everyone should be, if it has enough history, people should have already used it. You should be able to talk to people who have and see what their experiences are with the vendor.
Yeah,
and the security.
The history of security, you know, you make sure that they actually have a strong history of security. They get bugs and they fix them, they patch them quickly and efficiently. And again, I mean, quickly and efficiently it's a relative term. You know, I went to Mark Dowd's talk yesterday about the ActiveX stuff and talking about the ATL patch. It took 18 months to get out of Microsoft. And, you know, that might have been quick and efficient for that patch, but it's just a matter of reference to what you're trying to do. And the only way to do that is to have security experts in there looking at the process and saying, okay, this is a reasonable response time for this patch.
Talk to developers. You can call one up, ask them if SQL injection is bad or if it's a feature.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just exactly. You know, is that a feature that they can log in with any admin? Is that a bug? You know, see what they say. Okay, so that's it. That's basically it. So, thank you. Any questions about this over there? Yeah.
So, I mean, the decision not to disclose those specific vulnerabilities, do they still make you guys?
That came from legal. I mean, yeah, so that basically just came from, they didn't really, you know, our legal department is pretty hands-on in terms of doing things like this.
It consists of, it has at least one member of ex-federal enforcement, so law enforcement, so we listen to what they say.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, so we would like to disclose this stuff, and maybe eventually we'll let vendor why. If they don't get back to us eventually, we'll do it. My boss is a point. It will be a pretty funny timeline when we eventually come out with the bugs, but that's about it. Any other questions? Nope. Sweet, let's go to the bar.